What up, night owls? Welcome to Daytime Talk After Dark. My name is Al Jackson, but that is actually very important today. Why? Because it's just me. I know you guys must be watching the show like at some point there's just not going to be anybody there. But that is not true. I've been gone, obviously, on tour. I'll get into that. Damiana just said my name with all exclamation points, like I just broke a dish in my mama's house. But shout out to you, Damiana. It's good to be back. Good to be back with my night owls. Tori is, we are all, we're family at this point. So Tori is still kind of dealing with just a lot. You're not going to get over the loss of her beloved dog. And so she's taken a much needed day off. Erica is doing the same. Sam is with the kiddos. So it's just me. But guess what? I got a bunch of energy because I haven't been here in like 2 weeks. So we have a lot to talk about, but we're not going to talk about anything until we talk about our sponsor, the Positive Energy Campaign, who has really, hey, Shelly, the Positive Energy Campaign has held us down for a few months now. So please, you guys, click on their link, support our sponsors who have been so diligent in supporting us and believing in this thing that we got going. And before I go any further into the positive energy, we're not going to run the video today, but just please support them, because what they're doing is something that's important nowadays, which is giving us information that we can use, information that's palatable to regular folks like us when it comes to energy and being able to have productive conversations with people in kind of bite-sized segments so you don't have to pretend like you know what you're talking about, because I rarely do, especially when it comes to energy, but that's what the Positive Energy Campaign is for. So thank you, guys. I also want to say to my night owls, I'm really honored to be doing this show today, because I'm going to dedicate this show, obviously, to my hosts that are not here, my brothers and sisters, but more importantly, I am dedicating today's show to my aunt Willamina. There she is right there with my Uncle Ben. She passed away today at 98, and you guys know how we roll. I totally say you are allowed to be upset when we find out that an 18-year-old has lost their life, or somebody in the middle of their life has lost their life, and they had so much more. My aunt lived her life. My aunt was loved by her husband, my Uncle Tom. He passed away a few years ago. To this day, definitely one of the strongest men I've ever. He was like that old school strong, like guys that were just mechanics and didn't have to work out and go to Pilates. He would just give you a handshake and be like, oh, that's what a real man's handshake feels like. He was that guy, and he loved his wife. They raised one of my favorite people in the world, my Aunt Valerie. So I just want to say today, night owls, we're going to look up to the heavens. My Aunt Willamina is up there swirling around. Now all four sisters are up there together. My grandmother, Marcella, whose name is on my arm, my Aunt Ruth, my Aunt Willamina, and and my Aunt Elnora. The girls are back together. So the Golden Girls, this show is for you. So with that said, Aunt Mina, you will be missed. She was hysterically funny. My buddy Hannibal Burr said something, and I'll never forget. He said, in any black comedian's family, we are always the fourth funniest person in our family. And that is so true. My Aunt Mina would just be at dinner, and she would just out of nowhere be like, whatever happened to Fetty Wap? And I'm like, how do you know who that is? And why are you concerned with his career? She was random, she was funny, she was sweet, she was loved. Let's get to it. We have so much to discuss. I'm kind of deciding what we're gonna talk about. Let's talk briefly about my tour, where I have been. Night owls, your boy has been driving. I hope that that's clear. I have been on that road. I left Denver, went to Kansas City. From Kansas City, went to Louisville. I went to Cincinnati. I went to Fort Wayne to Columbus, all the way back to Omaha, back to Denver. Then I went to Rapid City, South Dakota, drove directly to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, And on my way, I had a day in between shows in Milwaukee. So I was like, I'm going to do what I've always dreamed that I said I wanted to do, which is just get a hotel. I don't know anybody in that city, pick a small city. And I was going to do kind of like a writer's retreat and just kind of sit down, finishing up my second book now, which is called The Thread. And I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do in the hotel. I don't have to do any stand-up. For once, my dance card is clear. How old am I for using that phrase? I digress. Now, remember, Night Owls, I told you guys the last time, the first leg of my tour, when I was in Omaha, there was a tornado siren that went off. Showroom is packed. And the tornado is on the ground somewhere in Omaha. Nobody moved. Show went on like nothing. I was scared to death, but I did it because I'm a pro. But, you know, in my head, I'm like, oh, it must be tornado season. So I'm like, that whole like lightning can't strike twice thing. So I'm just going throughout my day. I'm doing my writer's retreat, got some food. I'm at my hotel, and I was in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, which I didn't think Wisconsin even got tornadoes. I know nothing. So I'm looking out the window, and I'm like, this looks tornado-y. But Al, maybe your brain is still fried from being in a tornado. So as I have that thought, I start hearing tornado sirens. And me, I'm always the last one to panic, so I'm like, maybe that's like because I was across the street from a hospital, I was like, maybe that's an ambulance or something. And it was not. It was another tornado siren, 2 tornadoes in 8 days. What's up? So I am in my hotel, and peep this, y'all. I hope you kind of always remember and take this with you. It's what I tell my kids, and it's really how I live my life. Listen to your gut, because I think a lot of times you feel a certain way, but you're like, oh, well, I don't want to leave. I don't want them to feel weird. If something seems weird, if something seems off, use these 2 feet and move. And I was sitting there, and I was like, what is your gut telling you to do? I'm looking out the window of my hotel, and I see a hospital. And I was like, that hospital definitely has better walls than this Hampton Inn does. So guess what your boy did? I ran right across the street and went to the emergency room. And as I was going into the emergency room, they were ushering the people in the waiting room of the emergency room to a safe space. So I just blended in right with them and waited the storm out. The storm definitely hit the ground. People were on the phone talking to their loved ones saying it's on the ground here, all that. So I'm glad I went over there. But I don't know if we have the picture, but I had to send my girlfriend a text, and it just said, and Nick said he does have the picture, because of course he does. Nick's got this. I had to send my girlfriend Sarah a text saying, don't freak out, but I'm at the hospital, but I'm fine, but I'm in a tornado. So eventually they started going down the line to figure out like what ailment people had so they could figure out what order to take them. And the woman asked me like what was going on. And I feel like I didn't lie, because I was like, I don't know, I'm just not feeling well. And I felt like I wasn't feeling well. It was a tornado. I didn't feel good about that. So as soon as they were like, okay, and they probably put me down last, I was like, where's the bathroom? And I walked right out the front door. So shout out. So your boy has lived for 2 legs of this tour. And how about this? Let's get to the day's stories, because there's, as Nick said before the show started, there's a lot going on right now. Some of it is things that occur naturally in the world that we need to talk about, and some of them are man-made. More specifically, one man-made, and that would be Donald Trump. Because I'm sure you Night Owls know, Donald Trump just kind of casually, that we're kind of going back and forth with him, and him throwing American citizens without due process into El Salvadorian gulags, for lack of a better word. And because he's encountering so much pushback with that, he decided, how about this? Instead of going to El Salvador, we don't want to be doing customs, that takes too long. Let's just reopen Alcatraz. I haven't thought about Alcatraz since that TV show was on the air. Alcatraz is a museum. It's not a functional prison anymore. To house inmates, you need plumbing, you need security, you need to update everything. And this was one of the first times that a number of the outlets that I go to for my news, or at least to kind of set the table for news and allow me to kind of, I don't know, decipher what I think about it, they all had kind of come to the same conclusion, in that this was just another Trump kind of, as Erica would say, dangle the keys over here while I'm doing something over here. And it seems like we're all kind of sadly becoming well-versed in the way this man operates. It's almost like when he was throwing out that we're going to buy Greenland, and it's just like, it's not a thing. We all know we're not going to buy Greenland. It's the property of another country. And we'll get to that in a second, because Trump's also trying to buy Canada. He's just trying to storage wars the whole the North America, I guess. Just like, we'll take it. But yeah, it's this weird Alcatraz thing, and it made me think not so much about the ridiculousness of Trump trying to open a museum into a prison, but also there's two ways that I look at this, because Trump can also use something like Alcatraz as a way to financially reward somebody that supported his campaign, because we will say, Alcatraz, he's not going to do that, and move on with your life, as I suggest you do. Don't spend any time thinking about that. But what I guarantee you Trump does with all these kind of little nonsense projects that don't go anywhere, let's say you were a construction company and you donated $2.5 million to his campaign, and he gives you one of those, like, all right, cool, I'll take care of you on the back end. Well, what's the best way to do that? I don't know, a project that he mentioned and then never mentions again, but maybe he gives your company a $5 million contract that's not up for bidding. He just gives you that contract, and you go in there and kind of tinker around and maybe fix up some Alcatraz, but you got paid. It's almost the way we saw in his first term with the wall. Remember how everybody was campaign fundraising on that, and he was giving companies money to build the wall. Did they do that? I don't think they did. But guess what? I always say, check cleared. And I think that a lot of these situations, Trump is using these kind of nonsensical wastes of time, waste of the public consciousness to reward his cronies. And that's really how politics works. You take care of my campaign. When I get in office, I'll make you ambassador, deputy chief, something or other. I don't know what anything, that's how I know I'm not a real adult. Like, I don't know what the comptroller does. What does the lieutenant governor do? Can somebody tell me what does he do? Is he like next to the governor, like on the spaceship? I don't know I feel like if I was an adult, I would know some of those things. I am sorry. I just learned what the mayor did after watching The Wire for the second time. So let's continue on while we're on the Trump topic. I promise we will not stay long, but you know what, guys? We have to face the fact that he is, without a doubt, the most powerful man in the world. I don't want to say that again because it's terrifying, but it is true. And so we do have to take some of what he says at face value, because, he has snatched American citizens off these streets, and we have not seen them since. So he's not just selling wolf tickets out there, y'all. Like, he's really fulfilling the promises that his constituents seem to somehow want. It's interesting how the party of law and order isn't the party of due process. I would think those would kind of go hand in hand. But what do I know? Trump met with the new Prime Minister of Canada, I believe his last name's Carney, and it was a meeting at the White House. It was supposed to be, I think, kind of a friendly, because Carney just came into office after Trudeau, and things with Canada have been tense. How you make things tense with Canadians, I will never know. Erica's husband is Canadian. I have a lot of good friends that are Canadian. I perform in Montreal and Toronto fairly often. They are so nice, it's weird. It's weird how nice Canadians are. So to have anchored not only our allies to our north, but also trade partners. I think last time I checked, they have some lumber up there that we could use. We've not only tried to embarrass them on the world stage, but also we keep throwing around this narrative, and when I say we, Trump, not me, says that we might just mess around and just buy Canada, make it our 51st state, which is so disrespectful. It's like if you and your neighbor had a beef, like, my neighbor comes to me and they're like, hey, Al, I love being your neighbor, but that tree you have, it's kind of overgrown. It's in my yard and it's throwing shade on my plants, and my wife gets mad because her plants don't grow. So could you trim that back when you get a chance? And instead of me negotiating with my neighbor, who I'm going to have to see every single day for as long as my mortgage is, it'd be like if I was like, you know what, no. And matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy everything in your house. Give me your furniture, give me your clothes. Think about how disrespectful that is. That's somebody's homeland. It's a sovereign country. And to say that like we're playing around with the idea of purchasing them, of taking away their history and their dignity and just replacing it with ours, like they'll be just our 51st state, it's offensive, and Trump continued. If you watch the interaction, the Prime Minister of Canada, Carney, after Trump throws it out there, he puts it down pretty handily, and then Trump goes, well, you never know, and like kept it in the air. This is a country that we do incredible amount of trade with. I was reading that there's certain products that are made in this country that cross the border 4 times before they're done to be purchased by us, the consumer. And for us to have this beef and Trump to be wasting time with this ridiculous notion that we're going to buy another country, how would that even work? Whatever. So anyway, Trump obviously annoyed me, annoyed the Prime Minister of Canada. On behalf of all Americans, Canada, we all don't feel like that. I like your poutine in Montreal. I love Toronto, one of the most diverse cities. Vancouver is beautiful. So I'm just saying, you guys can tell, I'm keeping my options open in case I need to, duck across the border. And I won't be able to do that, but, in my James Bond mind, I can. Who's gonna stop me? The cops. Okay, moving on now. All right. Oh, I wanted to, after we're done with this last bit of depressing news from our president, the tariffs, we've talked about them a lot, but they are a-coming. They said in the next week or two, they're expecting to have 35% less deliveries on our docks. So we will start to see empty shelves in America in about 3 or 4 weeks. So when you go to the store, things that you normally buy that it didn't cross your mind that they may have been produced in China or produced in a country in which we have some outlandish tariff with, that it's just not gonna be there. But what is gonna happen is the product that is its competitor that is there is going to say, wait a second, I don't have any competition. So if it's a product that you have to buy, baby formula, paper towels, toilet paper, toothpaste, whatever it may be, what's to stop them from jacking the price all the way up? That's right, America. That's right, Night Owls. We all now live in the airport where prices are roughly about, I remember one time, remember those earbuds? They still had the cord to them, but they were like right before we went cordless with the earbuds. But they would break like every 6 months, and I was at the airport and mine broke, and I was like, I'm not getting on a 5-hour flight with no way to listen to anything. So I went to that kiosk in the middle of the airport that's always selling Bose headphones. Like, who's buying that? I'm going to Cincinnati. Like, I'm not going to spend $98 on a headset. So I went and just tried to buy like the really cheap earbuds, the ones that just went right into your iPhone, and they were $49. And usually you can get them at the gas station for like $6. And I was so mad when the price came up, the guy just said, sorry. It was a young black dude. He was just like, sorry, man. It was so egregious. And I'm wondering, are these going to be the prices that we're going to start to see? Because capitalism has no moral compass. So if there are products that are going to be discontinued from certain countries, we should expect to really feel the pinch at the store. And we're going to talk about the store in terms of Target later on in the show, but I just wanted to throw that out. I wanted to know what you guys think about just the world as it is, because I feel like we've gone from online rhetoric where it's just like, I'm pro-abortion, I'm anti, and I'm pro-trans, I'm anti, but now we're seeing it in real life. Now we're seeing it in our store shelves. Now we're seeing it in terms of alienating our allies. Like two really good allies. You look back at history, there are a lot of countries where the country that hates them most is like 70 miles away. We got Mexico and Canada. Those are like the two dudes you want to roll to any party with. Like, you are not gonna have fun. And you're gonna also not use a double negative when you're hanging out with somebody from Mexico and somebody from Canada. It's gonna be a party that night. And we are not only alienating them, but also alienating our competitors who want us to fail. So I think China is sitting back and they're gonna laugh because we're gonna feel the pain, and it's not gonna be the people at the top. They're always insulated. They always get the heads up. They're always so good at trading stocks, aren't they, guys? Don't you wish you were better at trading stocks? Like, if you knew for a fact that some company was going to get a huge contract and maybe you should put some money in their stock, don't you wish you were smart enough to know that, like all of our brilliant senators? If only there was a word for corruption. I digress. What's that? What is the Temu? And first of all, shout out to Nick. And dude, IDK Studios, I love it here. Nick is directing me to CELC 213. Look, I haven't looked at Temu because Temu and I's relationship is deeper than it should be. Temu kind of got me through the pandemic just scrolling. Some people scroll on Instagram. Some people troll other people with comments. I just like to look at lights on Temu. I like to see an incredible Hulk fist that's also, a light switch cover for a kid's room. I just like to see all the random stuff Temu has. It's like $4. It's stupid, but it kind of works well enough. And, Temu brought me a lot of joy. And the fact that Temu is not coming to the U.S. anymore is a huge problem. They just seem to keep taking away the stuff we like, We like TikTok. That's always dangling by a string. Abortion was wildly popular. That's gone. People seem to like their Social Security. That looks like it's about to be a relic of the past. Like, what? I guess my question is, there was when I was growing up in the 80s, the Harlem Globetrotters, it was a big deal when they would come to your town, and there would be clips of them doing their crazy basketball tricks, and they were always playing a team called the Washington Generals. They just went to different cities and played the same team, and they were just like really the sparring partners of the Harlem Globetrotters. They would stand there and reach for the ball, and they would pull them pants down. They would do the same move, but it worked every time. Shout out Harlem Globetrotters. But the Washington Generals always lost. That's what you could guarantee. And I'm like, what's the difference between them and the Democrats? Are you guys ever going to win anything? I mean, look, I am anti a lot of the hateful, hurtful policies that the Republicans have put forth that seem to just want to hurt people, but at least they get it done. What's that feel like, Democrats? Trump was like, hey, I'm going to get some Supreme Court judges in there. He got 2 in there before you could blink. One of them had only been practicing law 2 years. I think Joe Pesci on My Cousin Vinny had more time than she did. She's in there for life, though. She's in there for life, guys. Trump, just today, a draft dodger has now is in the process of banning our trans brothers and sisters that are honorable enough to serve in our military. A draft dodger is telling them they can't do that. It's horrible what they do, but the efficiency in how they do it is it's just like Trump says something and it's just done. I don't know, what are the Democrats just coming up like Tiny Tim? Like, oh, sir, can I have some porridge? Like, can you guys win? We're the mean Democrats. Can we get them in here? I don't want any more nice ones that are trying to like have look, Cory Booker seemed like a nice guy. Where's the Marjorie Taylor Greene Democrats? We need some of them because we need a couple wins here. Washington Generals, because I'm tired of losing. It's embarrassing. And a lot of times, like, we are the majority. Like, how do we, the majority, let our Social Security get taken? Let our, women's reproductive health care get taken without even, like, really much of a fight? It was just done. So, I don't know. You guys let me know when we're going to find some Democrats that are, as the kids say, about that life, you know? So with that said, let's keep moving on. Here, this was like a little fun story that I wanted to do. We'll call this a little palate cleanser after Daddy had to get on a rant about Trump. He's annoying. But I think there's something that would be even more annoying than that to me. And that was an article that I saw in TMZ. It was from Kayla Nicole. Now, Kayla Nicole is a young black woman in the prime of her life who made the mistake of dating Travis Kelce. The reason I call that a mistake is because ever since he started dating Taylor Swift, the Swifties have made her life hell. And she, in this article, isn't so much talking about that, even though that's mostly the gist of the other articles I've read about her. What she's saying is that she's more than just Travis Kelce's ex. And it got me thinking, unless you're, because you can see on the surface, like, of course, I'm sure Kayla Nicole is a dynamic, driven person and has a lot of interesting, fascinating things about her. But in a world with 8 billion people, most people won't ever know who you are. So if they know anything, it's going to be one thing. And sometimes it's Travis Kelce's ex. Sometimes you're the bagel boss guy. Remember that guy that got in a fight at a bagels? Like or you're, whatever, Coupon Carl. Remember him? Like these are people, they're full people that have lived a whole life, but we probably are going to only know one thing about you. But that doesn't mean that Kayla Nicole can't express incredible frustration, because I'm sure any job interview she goes to, it's weird. Anything she gets, that'll be like, oh, you're just famous because you had sex with a famous guy. Nice job. Or if she doesn't get it, she's going to constantly question her, because entertainers or anybody that doesn't get a promotion or whatever they were going for, when we don't get it, it causes a lot of self-reflection. And she's always going to wonder, was it me or was it the noise that I bring due to no fault of my own? So, Kayla, we're out thinking about you. I'm almost scared to talk about this. Guys, I am so scared of Swifties. I don't have any beef with Taylor Swift at all. She seems like a lovely person, and I don't know how somebody handles being that famous. But at the same time, everybody's got these armies now. There's the Chris Brown army, Bayhive, Swifties. Lady Gaga has the Monsters, but I don't think they're as aggressive. But with any of these armies, we're even kind of seeing it with the Blake Lively thing. If you end up on the wrong side of them, if you just think about this right now. Damian, I'm looking at you, Ravens fan, Shelly, Julia, what's up, girl? Think about if there were just 3 people that you didn't know that just dedicated their lives to making your life difficult. So if you posted, hey, there's a 5K run for breast cancer, they would just leave a nasty comment under that. Just 3 people. Think about how annoying that would be, how that could be a problem in your life. And then multiply that by 50,000. I can't imagine the fake bomb threats, the online harassment, people that I've said this a million times. I have a friend of mine that's a famous person, and he said some person that did not like him sent him a picture of his mother's house, and clearly the person was standing in front of it. I mean, I'm sure 99.9% of death threats are fake, but some aren't. We've seen this over and over again, and by the time we realize that these people ain't playing, we got Kim Kardashian tied up in a bathtub in Paris. And however we feel about Kim, I have no hatred towards her at all. I can't imagine how terrifying that is, and it's a lifetime scar. So with that said, shout out to Swifties. Please don't come after me. I'm an old man with 3 kids. All right. Yes, breaking news. Nick is giving me breaking news. Yes. No. Okay. Okay, and where is this? Night Owls, I'm gonna get to you in 1 second. What site are you reading this on? It's everywhere. All right, so I was, Shelly, I agree. No death threat is fake. Seriously, I don't know you. You might be crazy. Nick, who runs Dude IDK Studios, Night Owls, do me a favor. Follow Dude IDK if you're not already. Dude IDK Studios. Nick and I, we were just meant to work together. But the unfortunate news that Nick just gave me was that Smokey Robinson, say it ain't so, was accused of sexual assault just now. And I don't want to think that. You know, we cover these stories and we try, it's saying Smokey's hit with a $50 million lawsuit claiming he sexually assaulted 4 housekeepers. All right. The suit, which also names Robinson's wife, is saying that he had a pattern of SAing the housekeepers in his Los Angeles area home for nearly 20 years. Why this is coming out now, I don't know, but 4 housekeepers, it does seem like that would be very difficult to get 4 strangers, relative strangers. I'm assuming they didn't all overlap. But it says the 4 women called Jane Doe 1, 2, 3, 4 in the lawsuit. They say the complaint alleges that the 85-year-old R&B singer and record exec would regularly get housekeepers alone in his blue bedroom. Oh my God. All right, you don't want to end up in the blue bedroom apparently. Wearing only his underwear, put a towel down on the bed, and force them to have oral and vaginal sex without a condom. The last thing I read was, look, Damiana, this is a tough discussion because I think that we can all be very frank and logical when it comes to discussing people that you don't care about. But Damiana, your Smokey Robinson is somebody else's R. Kelly. And I'm not conflating or comparing at all. I am saying just in terms of how the consumer that has taken in their art feels about them. There's a lot of people where they saw, the last time they saw their parents slow dance in the living room, it was to Smokey Robinson. And that memory is the last positive memory they might have of their parents. Same with R. Kelly. They might have played that at, I Believe I Can Fly at your college graduation, and that song is just in your heart. So when these people are accused of things, there's a natural pushback, like, not Smokey, of course. And I mean, you look at Smokey, it shows you, and it constantly reminds people that SA is not about sex at all. It is a crime of violence, because our natural inclination would be like, well, Smokey could have any woman he wants. Sure, those points are mutually exclusive. It doesn't matter how many people are attracted to you, you get off on the violence and the intimidation and the domination of it. And I'm speaking still in general. Smokey has not been convicted of anything, but 4 accusations and Nick just saying it's everywhere, that ain't good. If it was one source, I probably wouldn't even mention it. But if it's everywhere, we're obviously going to follow the story. But it's interesting as well because we're kind of seeing this pattern, Night Owls. Have you noticed that now when people are being, indicted or accused of things, now the wife or the business partner or the receptionist, people that were attached tangentially to these people that were allowing these things to happen, now they are being roped in as well. And I wonder if that will eventually kind of break this code of silence, because it's almost like you would never let somebody take you to a bank they were about to rob and you just sit in the car, because you're going to be complicit in that whether you actually did it or not. And I think a lot of people that work for famous people that are doing horrible things, what incentive is there for them to leave? We can always play the morality card, but that don't pay the light bill, right? That doesn't pay your car note. What are you going to do if you're no longer A-list celebrities, attendant or their helper? What are you going to do? What skills do you have? So you are incentivized to not only stay in pocket, but keep your mouth shut. And I wonder if the only thing that we will see to kind of cause a break in this chain and maybe have some action in these situations before 20 years has passed, or in R. Kelly's case, I don't know, almost 30, is for people to have a little skin in the game and you being worried about yourself as well. So we'll keep an eye out for that. And I will just say, come on, Smokey. When we interviewed him on DBL, there's like a few people that I was really nervous. Magic, Dolly, and Smokey. Everybody else, that's cool. But those are like on my Mount Rushmore of just like, yeah, so that's very disappointing to hear. But let's get to a little good news that maybe doesn't seem like it. I want to touch on this briefly. Michelle Obama, she came out and said that she's in therapy. I was kind of going back and forth with my girl because I kept reading articles that didn't seem like they were too salacious, but they all were kind of hinting at the fact that the Obama's marriage was in trouble. President Obama was seen at basketball games by himself, where you never saw them separate. And, my girl was like, that's the perfect couple. They don't have any problems. And then Obama had this kind of eerie quote where he said, I'm digging my way out of a hole. Now, who knows what that meant? That's not my business, but something's going on. And we have to remember that Michelle, for as much as she is the symbol of just all things human, not even just woman, she's an exceptional person. Driven, successful, thoughtful, beautiful, but she's still a person. And I can't imagine the daily pressures that are on her, the things people must write to her. My daycare is going to close. Please do something. We need money. We need your help. Can you lend your voice to this high school production of Fences? I don't know why I thought about that. My mom took me to a place called the Caramoo House in Cleveland when I was like 10 to go watch the play Fences. And James Earl Jones was in it. James Earl Jones was like doing a play in Cleveland. But yes, I digress. At some point, everybody has their breaking point, especially when it's something that's been such a spine in your life, which I'm assuming is your relationship, her relationship. So even if that has survived the rocky times, it doesn't mean that her mental is all the way there. So I'm happy that she's open about the fact that she's in therapy. And I think anybody that is in therapy, shout it from the rooftops. Be proud. That's a good thing. Do the work. I did therapy as well. And, it changed the game for your boy. So let's keep moving. And I guess this is, I wouldn't say the main thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, but it has to do directly with mental health and that weird intersection when mental health and politics, especially politics at the very top, intersect. John Fetterman, who famously beat Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania to be the governor of Pennsylvania. Is that right, Nick? I believe it's Pennsylvania. Remember, he's big guy, bald. I think he's like 6'8". He's just a big dude. But you know, he I believe was the mayor of like kind of like a rusting kind of steel town, and really just personified what a lot of us think of as just tough inner America. You know, rural Pennsylvania, dying steel town, and just this guy that, you know, wore sweatpants and talked openly about his mental health issues. And he had the perfect foil because he was going up against Dr. Oz, who was snarky, was clearly out of touch. Remember when he went to the grocery store and was trying to like show us how to buy things, even though he had no idea how money worked? So he beats Dr. Oz, and that should be the end of the story. Hey, good guys got to win, but guys, night owls, come on now. This is real life. John Fetterman had, I believe he had a stroke towards the end of the campaign against Dr. Oz. He came back and he had a debate against Dr. Oz where he was clearly impaired as anybody would be after suffering a stroke. And it appears that things have been going downhill for quite a while now. It seems like at least a year. People around him, this all came because I guess one of his aides wrote, I don't know if it was an anonymous op-ed, but an op-ed just saying like he's unhinged. It seems like, and I am no doctor, like he's suffering from bipolar disorder. He is not on his medication. As somebody that grew up very, very close to, and you're saying, Julie, he was going to be a senator instead of the governor. Maybe, yes, maybe. Either one. A position I'll never have. But yes, we'll go with you, Julia, to be the senator. But, you know, life continues on. And we now have a man who, starting his term in office, is starting off with a stroke. This is somebody who struggled with their mental health their whole life. And when somebody's on the campaign trail, there's a lot of us that have loved people and continue to love people with mental health issues, and you cheer for them. But I'm like, is that us being idealistic? Because this was the more likely scenario. As you get older, you're not as sharp. You become a little bit more hardened in your ways. And maybe, you know, it's harder to tell somebody of his age, I think you should take your medication. There's paranoia that comes in there. And on top of everything, this is a very powerful person. This is a person that really can't be removed from office. I've read so many articles, but there was one article, I believe from a congressman, that said that when he went to go meet with John Fetterman, he refused to speak, and he was just walking in a figure-8 motion in his office, just like almost catatonic. And we saw this with Dianne Feinstein, who definitely was suffering from late-stage dementia, Alzheimer's. That's, I guess I'd say allegedly, but I think she definitely was. And what do we do, y'all, when we've put these people in positions of power and now we're kind of having buyer's remorse? Because remember, it flips. Dianne Feinstein was always a fierce Democrat, but towards the end of her term, she was suffering from degraded mental health, and because of that, she was missing votes. And guess who was very fine with that? Her Republican opposition, because a lot of times those votes come down to 1 or 2 votes, and they're like, no, you were so supportive of your girl, you're so supportive of Fetterman when he beat Dr. Oz, now you got to sit in this. They're not going to help you get rid of or help off-board somebody in a position of power that could possibly counteract any kind of moves that they're trying to make. So it's really sad. You know, Dianne Feinstein basically died in her chair for, and I just hope that we eventually get some kind of foresight where we realize that as people get older, they're going to be diminished. A lot of times they're not going to want to step down. And maybe that's when we have some things in place to make that transition a little easier. All right. So good luck to Mr. Fetterman, and good luck to anybody at the Newark airport. Yo, what is happening there? Apparently, they're so short-staffed that usually people go, oh my God, my flight was delayed 8 hours. And that's a crazy story. Somebody tells you their flight was delayed 8 hours. You're all in on that story. What'd you do? Did you go home? Did you stay? We're talking about people whose flights have been delayed so much, we're now backed up 4 and 5 days. And what we're seeing is, again, those Trump mandates that actually did mean something. Remember when he was on his big anti-DEI kick, and he was like air traffic controllers, they're all black. Well, I don't know what I think he said one was a little person, so he fired a bunch of them. Well, guess what, guys? We need people in those towers, turns out. Yeah, they're not just for show. And because of that, there was apparently a 30-minute period in which the tower at Newark Airport, and you have to understand, LaGuardia, I lived in New York. LaGuardia is kind of the domestic airport. If you're going to Detroit, you leave out of LaGuardia. If you're going to Germany, you're leaving out of Newark, homie. And for that major hub to have lost contact with all aircraft for 30 minutes because the technology is so, they're saying like they're running like basically copper wire to communicate with each other. They hand notes to each other. It's real 1960s in there. So I don't know why we have cars that are basically iPads on wheels, but we just really just kept our air traffic controllers right around wherever like Betamax and VHS tapes ended. Like that's where we stopped our technology with that. So I am very uncomfortable. There have been a number of air traffic controllers that have said it's not safe. And I'm like, I'm glad you said that, but can you not say that? Because that's terrifying. I mean, these people are overworked. They're trying to get air traffic controllers that are retired. I'm assuming those people retired because they were burnt out. Do you want to go get them back? Do you want to do that to them? Do you want to do that to you? Maybe if we don't fire people willy-nilly and then go try and find them later, we wouldn't have these problems. But what do I know? I went to public school. All right, so good luck to everybody in Newark. It's terrifying, and it's just sad that this is kind of like what we're dealing with is just a constant, cause and effect that didn't need to be. Trump made a comment, felt like he had to back it up, and because of that, now people are inconvenienced. Those people at the airport, you're not taking a flight because you don't have anything to do. Those people are going to funerals, people are going to business meetings, people are going to see their loved ones that maybe only get a week every 6 weeks to go see each other. Those are major life hurdles that we're presenting to them, and it seems like it's something that other countries have figured out. So let's get on board and let's stop with this nonsense. And before I go any further, because obviously I can talk, I do want to say the super chats that you guys have been so nice in giving out, it means the world. If you guys want to have a real honest conversation for a second, let's do it. You, as our night owls, as our support system, are what makes this go. In terms of like the industry with whatever's left of it, it's not the industry that could say, hey, we're going to grab these 5 hosts and we're going to put a show together called Daily Blast Live. In a weird way, it's kind of cool because you as the night owls have ownership over the show. As long as you guys go, we're going to go. And that's why I said there's always going to be at least one of us here. This is a crazy day today. But I was excited to come here because I've been talking to y'all for like 8 years. And now you can't leave me. So how about that? What if I just turned into a crazy boyfriend on you? What are you going to do, huh? Anyway, thank you guys for all your super chat donations. It means a lot to your boy. It allows us to keep going and to keep delivering you semi-depressing news. But let's get to something that I guess isn't great for the company, but it makes me so happy because it's showing us as the consumer, us as people that consider ourselves the little guy, that we can have an impact. We can't stop government corruption. We can't fill the spots left by air traffic controllers. But you know what we can do? We can boycott Target. I didn't know that this was still a thing, and it's so interesting. On the road, I didn't realize till I was in there. I was like, oh, am I breaking the boycott? Because when you're on the road and you need a belt, I'm not a local. I don't know where to go except for Target. If I need a belt, if I need peanut butter, if I need a light bulb, I'm going to Target. So sorry, guys, I broke the picket line and went to Target. And this was a week before I read the article that I was about to talk to you guys about, this article I read in Rolling Stone. And I was walking around the Target, and I was like, it's empty in here. I just had that thought. It was like 5:30. I was in Indianapolis, a busy shopping area. There was no reason for this Target at 5 o'clock. People were off work. People used to run to Target, get toilet paper, get a frozen pizza, go home to the kids. Not this Target. And it's because Target fully embraced Trump's anti-DEI mandate, because there were some companies, some universities that pushed back and was like, to hell with that. Like, we're not down with we're not firing people of color or people that come from disadvantaged backgrounds because some dude told us to. But other countries were fine with it. And I actually wanted to pull this article up because what they were saying is the initial boycott, which was started in the black churches, was supposed to, I believe, just go through Lent. But now I'm hearing that they're saying it's going to go indefinitely, which I'm sure Target is super pumped for. I wanted to read this to you because I was like, well, why did Target kind of catch more flack than anybody else? And basically, they want me to pay for this article. I'm not, so I'll just tell you what I remember. They were saying that not only did Target completely embrace the DEI rollbacks, but they also reneged on a $2 billion investment that they had promised after the George Floyd murders into like the black business sector. I don't know exactly which, but like when Trump was like, you don't got to do that, they were like, word. And so the people spoke. And I think whether it's with your wallet at Target or whether it has to do on just a very personal scale, whether it's you, like, let's say, because a lot of people go, oh, I don't want to go home for Thanksgiving because my uncle is really hurtful. He says these things about my body or my partner. Well, the way that you can control that is with your presence. If you're there at Thanksgiving being berated, it's kind of your fault. If we're there at Target shopping after they've showed us how they feel, that's kind of our fault. But we are now seeing that while it talks, I believe the CEO, and I'm going to go low on this because I don't want to overshoot the number, but he had to take like a 35 or 40% pay cut, the CEO. So I'm sure he's fine, but that's a little bit of a haircut. And I wonder if other companies are going to take notice of what's going on with Target, because we are, for as much as we're inundated, I'm sure to an extent that we're not super pumped about with information constantly, for as much as the internet has come at us almost like a speed bag, at first we're taking a lot of punches, but I'm looking at the chat. All of you guys have at least heard about every story that I've discussed, and you've taken time to form a thought about it. We as consumers are getting better, and we're getting faster, and we're getting stronger, and we understand that if we pool our resources together, we can also make a change. So that sounded so corny when I said that. I should have been like at a youth center in a 1980s breakdance movie where they're like, look, guys, we're going to break dance, we're going to save our community center, because that was the crux of all the breakdance movies I watched when I was a little kid. Breakin' 2, is there was always a mean old white guy that wanted to bulldoze their community center and build a strip mall. That was back when strip malls were big. And so they were like, the kids were like, nah, dog, we're about to do the earthworm and we're gonna stop your corporate progress. And it worked every time. Maybe we need to do a little breaking, y'all. What's up? Shelly, Damiana, get the cardboard. I'll bring the boombox. All right, Nick, Nick, do you have any final thoughts? We got 5 minutes. I'm gonna, and also, I wanna do this too, guys. We got 5 minutes here. Do you have anything that you wanna talk about? And we can bring it home with that. Yes, Damiana, Crush Groove, for sure. And Nick is pulling up some. Oh, the Met Gala. Okay, we only have 5 minutes for the Met Gala, but it must be discussed. Do you want to start with these looks? I'm going to try and remember the title off the top of my head. It's going to be wrong. It was called Styling in Black Excellence, the Black Tailored Excellence. Did I get that right? Superfine Tailoring Black Style. All right, so we are going to get into this. Let's get to my best dressed, and this is Russ and his wife, correct? And that's Ciara and Russell Wilson. I'll just say this. A lot of people make fun of Russell Wilson. They call him a square because he's open about his religion. I don't think he curses. He's all about the team, almost to the point where it's a little hokey. But I'm looking at him there, clean AF, next to one of the most beautiful people that is walking around this planet right now. And for all the jokes, if I was Russ, I would just lift those sunglasses and be like, now who's laughing? Definitely two of my best dressed, looking good. What else you got for me, Nick? Okay, this was, wait, what's this guy's name? Oh, Patrick Schwarzenegger from White Lotus. I just kind of like this look because he looks like a Jedi that's retired and just kind of lives in the city now. It's such a crazy, weird look. I like these. I don't know if you would call that a tunic, which is what he's wearing when it's kind of like a chancellor's outfit. But I feel like you only get to wear that if you're a super famous actor or you run a country of like 1.5 million people. So that's my goal ultimately. And Night Owls, you guys need to help me achieve that goal. That's my make-a-wish. Can I get a small country, please? Come on. All right, and this is Bad Bunny. And I think I liked this look just because I like the bowling bag. I really do. As a man, I've always kind of gravitated towards different kinds of bags, but it's difficult because you can't carry a briefcase because you look crazy unless you're a spy and it's handcuffed to your wrist. You don't want to carry a duffel bag like you're just coming from the gym. That bag is like, you get on the plane and you're just like, I'm telling everybody here, I'm just going to this city for the weekend. This is all I need. If I need something else, I will buy it or have the hotel send it because you're balling with your leather bag and that outfit that's giving me a lot of Morris Day in the Time. From the waist up, it's very Morris Day in the Time. So shout out to him. Let's get to some misses very quickly. Okay, I don't know who this dude is, but we'll just call him Engelman. You know, they say Alton Mason. Now, let's just say this before. Your boy is ripped. And I'm not talking about him, I'm talking about me. No, Alton Mason is ripped, okay? And when you have that kind of physique, you can do stuff like this because, yeah, worst case scenario, you're like, oh, this cape isn't working. Should I just take this off? I should? Okay. So he's winning either way, but that look kind of missed it for me. He looks like a pimp 2,000 years from now. Not digging it. Love the hat and the glasses, though. The nothing in the middle is a problem. Now, this is Zendaya. I like that hat. And I've said this before. I love a tailored suit on the traditional female figure. I just think the way that women's bodies, for the most part, naturally configure, the way that a suit kind of goes down to a point near the navel, it perfectly accentuates the female form, the traditional female form. So I'm a sucker for this look. I love the hat. I love an all-white suit. You're looking super clean, sis. What else we got? All right, this is a tough one, guys, because you have to understand, Andre 3000 got me through my 20s and early 30s. One of the best lyricists of all time, one of the most fearless creatives in hip hop. Well, now we have hip hoppers that are like fashion and they're edgy and they'll wear a leather jacket and they look almost more like a rock star than a rapper. When Andre 3000 was doing stuff like this, I went to a concert of his one time in New Orleans. It was in an airplane hangar, and he came out just wearing pants, no shirt, and shoulder pads that a football player would have on with just spikes on them, and he just rapped in that. And I remember on one of his albums, he says, you know, every time I change my look, people are saying, "What's up with you? Are you broke? Are you gay?" Like, these are the things that people thought in the 90s. If you don't dress this certain way, you must be gay. Like, that was a bad thing. But also, not that this brother wasn't just avant-garde. That being said, he's got a piano on his back, Nick, and I don't know. I'm assuming that there's a metaphor that you always take the music with you, but that's a little too literal. I'm also thinking about, you know, an emergency bathroom run. It's almost like when you spend too much time on your outfit at Halloween and it looks really cool and it's clever, you're like, oh, I'm Monet or something, but then now you got to carry a frame around because you're a picture. After a while, you're like, this is a lot of work. So I wonder if he just ditched the piano, and if so, wouldn't it be sad to just see the piano just off in the corner? But with that being said, Andre 3000, you are a true inspiration. And under my most interesting, because I invented my own category because I can do that, I am blabbing past my time, but we got time. Where are we going? Where are we going? ASAP Rocky. Every time we would do a story about him and Rihanna, they would be on the screen and I would be about to read the prompter, about to make a comment, and I would just be like, what a stunningly gorgeous couple, kids. They are just a beautiful family to look at. And I listened to an interview that ASAP Rock did with Vogue regarding because they were kind of encouraged to wear black designers to this Met Gala, and the black designer that ASAP Rocky was proud to say he was wearing was himself. He designed everything that he had on. He's really a fashionista more than anything, and he is in his bag, as the kids say. All right. Do we have anybody else, or that's it? Oh, well, what a great place to stop. You know, we start with tariffs, we end with ASAP Rocky, because that's what we do here, y'all. Look, Night Owls, I appreciate you guys holding me down and showing me that I really like this, and I think I'm going to talk to Nick about maybe doing a show more regularly along with Daytime Talk After Dark, because we just can't quit you. But with that said, for my hosts that are not here, for my Aunt Mina that is up there swirling in the heavens, I've been Al Jackson. Night Owls, we love y'all. Hoot, hoot. See you Friday. Thanks, y'all.